Greetings, friends. Prepare for another thrilling journey as we delve into Reddit's most bizarre tales. We're plunging deep into the quirkiest corners of the web. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Remember to hit subscribe and like. Let's begin. It all started with an unsettling feeling deep in my gut. For a while, I had been trying to convince myself that everything was fine, that the distance growing between me and my wife, Jessica, was just a phase. We'd been married for nearly 15 years, built a life together, and even shared a successful business. But something had changed. Subtle at first, the late nights, the strange silences, the sudden secrecy with her phone. As time went on, I found myself questioning everything. Was I imagining things, or was there something deeper lurking beneath the surface? The answer came crashing down on me a month ago. I stumbled upon a series of text messages on her phone that shattered my world. They weren't just any messages. These were between Jessica and my business partner, Mike, a man I had trusted with not only my livelihood but also my friendship. The texts were flirty, filled with innuendo, and painted a picture of a relationship that had been going on for 2.5 years. I confronted her immediately, but Jessica, with tears in her eyes, swore up and down that it wasn't what it seemed. She claimed it was just emotional, nothing physical. It never went that far, she insisted. I promise you, we never had sex. But as I read the messages again and again, her words didn't align with what I was seeing. The text told a different story, one of stolen moments, private jokes, and deep emotional intimacy. And more than once, they hinted at meetings behind my back, the kind that involved more than just innocent conversations. Flirting is bad enough. Emotional betrayal is painful in its own right, but the repeated mentions of secret rendezvous, the suggestive comments, and the coy responses, all of it pointed to something far deeper than she was willing to admit. I don't know if I believe you, I told her. The look in her eyes was one of desperation, but at that moment, all I could feel was numbness. How had we gotten here? And worse, how had I missed it for 2.5 years? Jessica blamed the distance between us. She said I'd been focused on the business, that we had drifted apart, and Mike had simply been there for her in ways I hadn't been. But as much as I wanted to find an explanation, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I had given her my trust, and she had shattered it. The weeks after that discovery were a blur. I was torn between trying to salvage our marriage and dealing with the wreckage left in its wake. We decided to try counseling. Jessica was adamant that she wanted to save our relationship, but every time I sat across from her in those sessions, I couldn't look at her the same way. The images of those texts haunted me day and night. Mike, on the other hand, had the audacity to act as if nothing had happened. He showed up to work like always, sitting across from me in meetings, discussing numbers, shaking hands with clients. But every time I looked at him, I saw the betrayal. He wasn't just a colleague. He was someone I had trusted with my future, my business, and indirectly with my family. And he had betrayed that trust in the worst possible way. It was the ultimate deception. Someone so close to both of us, someone who knew our lives inside and out. He'd been to our house, celebrated holidays with us, and shared in our successes. And all the while, he'd been secretly building this affair with my wife. For a while, I was paralyzed, not knowing what to do. Could I confront Mike? Could I forgive Jessica? Was there any way to move forward? I wasn't sure if I was more hurt by the affair itself or lies that followed. But what I did know was that I couldn't keep living in this state of limbo, questioning everything. A month after finding out, the tension finally came to a breaking point. We had just returned from a counseling session that felt like every other, a mixture of forced vulnerability and painful silence. I had reached my limit. As I walked through the door of our home, I knew something had to give. I couldn't keep pretending that things could go back to the way they were. Jessica, we need to talk, I said, my voice heavier than it had ever felt. She turned to face me, her eyes filled with worry. Please just give it more time. We can get through this. I know we can. But I shook my head. No, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep wondering if you're telling me the truth or if there's more to the story that you're still hiding. She started to cry, but I held firm. You had an affair with my business partner. a man I trusted, and even now, I don't know if I can believe anything you're telling me. For 2.5 years you lied to me. But it wasn't physical. I swear it wasn't. That doesn't matter. I cut her off, my voice rising for the first time. Whether it was physical or not, you still betrayed me. You betrayed our marriage, our trust, and you did it with someone I have to see every day. Do you have any idea what that feels like? She was sobbing now, but I couldn't stop. I've given this a lot of thought, Jessica, and I can't live like this. I can't keep questioning you. I can't keep pretending that this can just go away. She tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. You need to go, I said, my voice firm but hollow. I can't do this anymore. Her sobs became more frantic. Please don't do this. We can work it out. I love you. I don't want to lose you. But her words felt empty to me now. I had given her my love, my loyalty, and my trust for 23 years, and she had thrown it away. Even if she claimed it wasn't physical, the emotional betrayal was just as deep. The intimacy she shared with Mike was something I couldn't forgive. You already lost me, I said quietly. You lost me when you chose to lie, when you chose to let this go on for years. Jessica pleaded, but I was resolute. I grabbed my keys and left the house, leaving her standing there crying. I drove around for hours, my mind racing. Was this the right decision? Was I walking away from 23 years of marriage too easily? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that staying with her would be a constant reminder of the betrayal. I couldn't move on. I couldn't rebuild what had been broken. The next few days were brutal. I moved out of the house we had shared and began the process of untangling our lives. Jessica continued to reach out, begging for forgiveness, but I couldn't give it. Not this time. I confronted Mike shortly after. It was in the office, just the two of us. I told him that I knew everything. He tried to deny it at first, but I wasn't having it. I laid out the texts, the lies, the deceit. His face went pale, and he couldn't look me in the eye. I trusted you, I said. You were supposed to be my partner, my friend. And you went behind my back for years. Mike didn't have much to say. He stammered out an apology, but it was hollow. It was clear that he wasn't sorry for what he had done, just that he had been caught. I told him we were done, both as business partners and as anything else. I couldn't work with him, couldn't even look at him without feeling the rage build inside me. The divorce process was long and painful, but in the end, I walked away with my dignity intact. I knew I had made the right decision. I didn't need to stay in a marriage that was built on lies and deceit. I didn't need to pretend that everything could be fixed when it was already shattered beyond repair. The months that followed were tough. I had to rebuild my life from the ground up. But slowly, I began to heal. I focused on myself, on my own growth, and on finding peace. Jessica's betrayal had hurt me deeply, but it didn't define me. One day, I realized that I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't consumed by the need for revenge or the pain of betrayal. I had let go. I had moved on, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free.